Somewhere beyond the fog, where the wind still remembers forgotten names, a story stirs quietly, waiting to be felt. Not told. This is a whisper from elsewhere. Let us begin our story. Once upon a time, there was a boy who waited at the edge of the world for a girl who would never come back. The goodbye wasn't loud. No storms, no cries. Just a door that didn't open again. He refused to accept it. Couldn't. Wouldn't. He searched through mountains where the stars had forgotten their names, across rivers that ran backward with regret, through forests where memories clung like dust. Time slipped. His hands grew colder, but his heart, it kept walking. Even when his feet bled, even when the world forgot him, even when the sky changed its name from blue to gray to black. Still, he walked, because what was an end without a goodbye? And one day, after a particularly long absence, he heard a whisper on the wind that sounded like her name. So he quickened his pace, hope fluttering in his chest like a moth to a dying ember. He had been walking for so long that he couldn't remember what direction he was going. So he closed his eyes and listened. The sound grew louder, and when he opened his eyes, he saw a path, barely visible, but there nonetheless, winding through the undergrowth ahead of him. It seemed almost to beckon, and he followed, drawn by the promise of her return. He didn't know how many days or nights he'd spent searching, so how many more could he endure? This path, though faint, seemed like an answer, a signpost, pointing toward her. It was all the encouragement he needed. The path led him to the edge of everything. Here, the world crumbled into mist. A place where things began and ended, where beginnings had no names and endings made no sound. Here, he could have turned back. The world was vast, mysterious, waiting to be explored. There were other paths to walk, other stars to chase, other dawns to greet. Why should he stay here? Because fighting for her was the only way he knew how to breathe. Because the goodbye wasn't loud, but his love was thundering in his veins, drumming in his fingertips, echoing in his soul. So he stayed. One night he reached the edge of the world again, where the sky bled colors into the earth and the river ran backward, carrying the weight of tomorrow's tears. He stood at the precipice, the wind tugging at his clothes, urging him to turn back, to forget, to forgive, but he didn't. Instead, he leaned forward, into the mist, into the nothing, into the silence. He called her name. The wind answered, but she did not. The mist swirled around him, cold and heavy, pressing against him like a shroud. He could have turned back, start again, forget. But instead, he stepped forward, into the mist, into the nothing, into the silence. When the sun rose, the first rays touched his skin, burning away the last vestiges of warmth. The world stretched before him, silent and empty. He could have turned back, forget. But instead, he walked forward, into the mist, into the nothing, into the silence. He didn't know if he was walking toward her or away from him. It didn't matter. The only thing that mattered was the road beneath his feet and the name on his lips. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. The seasons shifted, painting the world in different hues, but his resolve remained constant. He didn't find her, he didn't win, but he didn't stop, didn't let go, didn't regret. Each step took more effort than the last, but he kept walking. The mist clung to him, a constant companion, whispering secrets he couldn't understand. He didn't know how much time had passed. There was no way to tell. The sun and the moon took turns gracing the sky, but he saw neither. He didn't need their light. He had the memory of her smile, the echo of her laughter in his heart. And then one day, the mist parted, revealing a clearing. In the center stood a woman. Her back was turned to him, and he hesitated, fear constricting his throat. What if this wasn't her? What if his heart, starved for hope, had tricked him? He took another step, then another, and as he drew closer, the woman turned. Her face was pale, etched with lines of worry, but her eyes, they shone with the light of 1,000 suns. He didn't need to hear her voice to know that she was him. He didn't need words when their souls recognized each other across the chasm of time and loss. As they embraced, the world rumbled, the mountains trembled, and the river turned to flow forward again. The mist swirled around them, a silent applause, celebrating the reunion that had been eons in the making. He held her close, feeling the warmth of her body, the beat of her heart against his chest, a rhythm he thought he'd lost forever. And in that moment, he knew that the waiting had been worth it. The searching, the yearning, the endless nights at the edge of the world. She pulled away, her hand on his cheek. her thumb brushing away a tear he didn't know he'd been crying. Her eyes, pools of starlight, held his gaze, and in them he saw galaxies of understanding, galaxies born out of shared grief and unwavering devotion. Then she spoke, her voice like the chime of distant bells. It wasn't a question, more an affirmation, a testament to the bond that had weathered the storms of absence and emerged even stronger. "I promised, didn't I?" he whispered, his voice hoarse from disuse, yet resonating with the conviction of 1,000 lifetimes. "And a promise is a promise, isn't it?" A smile touched her lips, bittersweet, like the memory of a dream. "Yes," she breathed, "a promise is a promise." He didn't know how long they stood there, bathed in the ethereal glow of the mist, surrounded by the whispers of the wind. Time had little meaning here at the edge of the world where endings were just another beginning. He looked into her eyes, searching for answers, finding solace. In their depths, he saw the reflection of his own journey, the toll it had taken, the strength it had forged. He saw the echoes of her absence reverberating through his being. He wanted to ask questions, 1,000 questions that had formed in his heart over the countless nights he'd spent waiting. But he knew that some questions didn't need answers. Some wounds didn't need explanations. The shared silence between them was a language in itself, a language woven with the threads of longing, loss, and the unbreakable bond of their connection. He reached out, his hand trembling slightly, and cupped her face, his fingers tracing the contours of her features, as if memorizing them for safekeeping. Her skin was cool, yet it sent a jolt of warmth through him, chasing away some of the lingering chill that had settled deep within his bones. In the crook of her neck, he found the pulse of life, a steady thrum that resonated with his own. And as he listened, he felt a sense of grounding, a reminder that even at the edge of the world, life, in all its mystery and resilience, endured. They stood there for what could have been minutes or eternities, lost in the symphony of the moment, until the mist around them began to dissipate, revealing the world anew. The trees swayed gently in a breeze that carried the scent of wildflowers, and the river sparkled in the sunlight, its waters teeming with life. It was a world reborn, mirroring the rebirth that was taking place within him. As he looked into her eyes, he realized that their journey was far from over. The waiting had ended, but a new chapter was beginning. A chapter filled with healing, growth, and the quiet joy of simply being together again. The edge of the world was no longer an ending, but a starting point, a testament to their enduring love and the indomitable spirit that had brought them back to each other. Some journeys don't end in reunion, but in the quiet peace of knowing you never stopped walking. Fog settles again, the light fades, but the story lingers, in echoes, in ashes, in silence. Perhaps you've felt it too. Another whisper waits, somewhere. Until next time, stay close to the flame.